Hare Krishna everybody, and welcome back to the Narayaneeyam sessions. Today we'll do chapter 11 of the Narayaneeyam, which is about the birth of the two demons Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. This corresponds to chapter 15 of canto 3 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so as usual we'll read the first shloka of this chapter and then do a simple translation. Okay. क्रमेण सर्गे परिवर्धमाने कदापि दिव्यासनकादयस्ते भवद्विलोकाय विकुण्ठलोकं प्रपेदिरे मारुतमन्दिरेशा. And in the last chapter, we saw how Brahma was engaged in creating the different species of life, and from the two sides of his body, he created a male and a female form named Manu and Shatarupa, and through them multiplied the human race. Yeah. So now here in this opening verse, the poet Sri Melpattur Narayana Bhattatripad says, O Lord of Guruvayur, as creation progressed, the four Kumaras. Who are the four Kumaras? Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana and Sanat Kumaras. We saw about their birth in the last chapter. They are known as the Manasa Putras, or the sons born out of the mind of Brahma. Okay, as soon as they were born, Brahma requested them to help him in furthering creation, but they were not interested because they were born devotees of the Lord and they were not interested in procreation. So now these four Kumaras, they wanting to pay respects to the Lord, went to Vaikuntha Loka. Vaikuntha is the abode of the Lord. Okay, they crossed all the six gates and reached the Naishreyasa garden. Naishreyasa garden is a beautiful garden in Vaikuntha Loka. There is a beautiful description of this Naishreyasa garden in Canto 3 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, it is filled with desire fulfilling trees, and in all seasons they are filled with flowers, fruits, etc. Because everything in Vaikuntha is spiritual in nature. Plants, animals, birds, bees, all living entities have a spiritual form, and all living entities are singing the glories of the Lord there. Okay, and Srila Prabhupada says that because all of them, although differently formed, are spiritual in nature, there is no difference between them. In his purports in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, formlessness as conceived by the impersonalists is refuted here. Vaikuntha planets are beautifully described in Canto 3 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Those are interested can please read. Okay. Now coming back, now these four Kumaras, they reached the Vaikuntha Loka, and as they were about to enter, they were stopped by the attendants, personal attendants of the Lord, Jaya and Vijaya. Now this made the sages very angry. And the sages, they curse Jaya and Vijaya, saying that as their conduct was not befitting to live in Vaikuntha, they would have to be embodied as asuras. Realizing their mistake, Jaya and Vijaya immediately fall at the sages' feet and ask the sages to please bless them so that they can remember the Lord in whatever body they may be in. Okay, at that time, now the Lord comes out with his consort Lakshmi Devi on their vehicle, on his vehicle Garuda. Garuda the bird is his vehicle, right? So he comes on Garuda along with Lakshmi Devi. Now everything happens by the will of the Lord. Everything happens with the Lord's knowledge. There is nothing that happens by chance without the Lord's knowledge. Okay, so all this also happened by the Lord's will. Now as he comes out, the sages sing the Lord's glories, and then the Lord tells his attendants, who had no other refuge but the Lord, he tells his attendants, now the sages' words cannot be taken back. So you will have to be born as asuras in 3 births, and you will confront me in all the 3 lives, and at the end of which you will definitely come back to me. All right. And immediately the 2 gatekeepers, Jaya and Vijaya, fall down to earth and take birth as the sons of Diti and Kashyapa Muni. Okay, and because they were conceived, they were begotten in the evening twilight hours, they became cruel in nature because it was an inauspicious time. Okay, they became cruel in nature, and their names were Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. They tormented the whole world, all the universes, due to their inherent evil tendencies. And out of them, the 2, Hiranyaksha, the Asura, wanted to fight, and he could not find a suitable match. okay, in combat. And because then he got very angry, and what did he do? He immersed the earth under water, and then he roamed around. At that time, Varuna, the god of waters, told him, there is one person whom you can fight with, who will be a match for you. And who is that? That is Lord Vishnu. He screws him up nicely. And then after that, Hiranyaksha, he roams about, okay, with his mace, roaring loudly. Where is Vishnu? In search of Vishnu, he was going around searching for Vishnu to start a fight. Okay, and here Bhattatri ends this chapter by saying, O Lord, who can be attained only by thy devotees, I pray to please eradicate my ailments. Srimad Bhagavatam narrates how these two sons were born to Diti and Kashyapa Muni. One evening, during the twilight hours, Diti was overcome by lust, and she approached her husband Kashyapa Muni and begged him to have relationship with her so that she can beget a child. Although Kashyapa Muni warned her that this was not an auspicious time to beget children, she forced him into it. And later, she regretted. She felt very upset, and she went back. She approaches her husband, who had taken a bath then, and he was getting ready for his Sandhya Vandanam or evening prayers. At that time, she goes and asks for forgiveness. Now, Kashyapa Muni tells her that this was a very inauspicious moment. Sandhya time is for this evening twilight hours are meant for prayers and doing sadhana. And now, because of this conduct of hers, she is going to get two sons, he said, who would be very evil in nature. And they would be like the gods of death. They would be very bad, tormenting the whole universe. And she feels very sad hearing this. And then Kashyapa Muni says, in the end, they will be killed by the Lord himself. But because of your repentance, one of your son's son, that is one of our grandsons, would be a very great devotee of the Lord. He would be a born devotee of the Lord, and his name and fame would be spread across the three worlds. And hearing that her sons would be killed by the Lord himself, and that her grandson would be a great devotee of the Lord, she felt a little relieved. She felt happy. Okay, and so everything happens by the will of the Lord. Nothing happens by chance. In their first birth, Jaya and Vijaya were born as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu to Diti Devi and sage Kashyapa. Okay, and that was in Satya Yuga. And Hiranyaksha was killed by the boar incarnation of the Lord, Varaha Avatara, and Hiranyakashipu was killed by the Narasimha Avatara of the Lord, that is half man, half lion. And in the second birth, they were Ravana and Kumbhakarna. They were born to sage Vishrava and princess Kaikesi. That was in Treta Yuga. All right, and they were killed by Lord Rama. Okay, and in the third life, they were that was in Dwapara Yuga. They were born as Dantavakra and Shishupala, and they were brothers-in-law. And the Shishupala was the son of King Damaghosha and Shrutashubha, who was the sister of Vasudeva and Kunti. And Dantavakra was the son of Vruddha Sharma and Shrutadevi. Okay, and both of them were killed by Lord Krishna himself. So we'll see all this in the coming chapters. We can discuss all these stories. We'll discuss all these stories. It's coming. And thank you for watching. And I would look forward to your comments also. Now the next chapter is about the Varaha Avatara. I'll see you all with chapter 12 soon. Until then, take care. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.